probably log in.
You and me both.
We
True.
will
Yeah.
start.
Good idea. Yeah, like I said
Paul,
in chat,
glad you're back with us. Ivy, glad you're with us.
Glad to be back.
Yes.
I had a chance to watch the session on Twitch. Oh no.
There's something rotten in the state of Denmark.
Yeah.
Well, the question
Okay,
is, where's
cool.
Denmark?
but just a heads up, like I said in chat, one of my friends might be coming over, so I might just drop randomly, so I do apologize. It wasn't planned, but
She can join it if she wants.
no. She's the type of person who's snooty to online shit.
Yeah. It's... Ugh.
Well,
We can
she
have a
may
new
experience something new and wonderful.
Either way, all besides the point.
That's fine, yeah, that's absolutely fine.
I go by the same rule as that 80s song, If You Don't Dance, but with D&D.
Yeah. If your friends don't dance, then they're no friends of mine.
They haven't been
Safety dance.
Yeah. I'm guessing that is the song that Ken was thinking of, but perhaps
I would
he was thinking
assume
of something different.
Yes.
I would
think so.
assume.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave our friends behind.
We can roll bones if we want to.
S S S F A A A F F. I'm sorry. E T T T Y Y Y.
Safety dance.
Dance. Might not be able to play it, but didn't say we couldn't sing it.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
you
my
can't sing it
goodness.
either.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I actually know I can fight them on that. I haven't got.
You can, but you won't win.
I haven't got a strike on my channel yet.
You can actually, if you perform the music, you will not get a strike. As long as you give credit to the former artist, but it's only when you actually play their music.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's if you sing the music, you can officially have a strike against your account on YouTube and on Twitch. Yeah,
Really?
that is the case.
That's
yes.
not the way I was understood it.
There's a good reason why the big channels only sing about a 3-second snippet and then say nothing.
They're insane.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't care
Yeah,
about that.
sadly, one of my guilty pleasures is perhaps going away because I've been seeing more and more of the channels I've followed, like all through the pandemic, that do reactions to music. They are now, saying they're getting more and more of their stuff taken down, and more of their stuff is having copyright
Jesus.
strikes against it. So
Well,
it's like, yeah, well, okay, that was kind of a fun fad while it lasted, but
yeah, well, freedom of expression and people's just overall.
Well, no, what it is it's the big companies, the big record labels, and all this other stuff that are basically going after people for money. And basically, well, we can sue because you used our song. Instead of basically, my husband could go into this heavily because he's a musician. He hates the crap that they've done. They used to have Twitch Sings was huge.
Oh, I loved it. I have to get it.
I never saw it. Was it good?
Oh yeah, I mean basically
great.
it's like
Karaoke.
doing karaoke.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, it was. And then you could record a part and then put it out there, and other people could take that part and sing the other part, the second part to it, and record that. And there was some fantastic stuff out there. However, Twitch decided that they didn't want to pay for that license anymore, and it went away.
Yep, they shut it down. I sang.
Speaking of singing,
yeah.
What will our two bards sing about tonight?
Right.
And the answer to that is just about to be discovered. Welcome everybody to session 59 of the Sword Coast Chronicles. I am DM Galabond, and I am joined this lovely evening by the players. I believe that for the first time in a few weeks, I believe we have a full house in the Roll20 and on the Discord. We have Heather as she's not Inca in this game. Heather as Dez. We have Ivy as Belle. We have Ken as Falazure. We have Michael as Thaldohr. And we have Paul as Krenraid, and we have James as Mulek. And the last time we saw our intrepid band of heroes, they were in the storm giant kingdom of Maelstrom. And in Maelstrom, they had made the acquaintance of several giant emissaries from other giant tribes, and had gotten afoul of a couple of the storm giant princesses who don't seem to like small folk, as they call humanoids of humanoid size. They were then kind of sang and played and impressed some of the giants with their singing, and BS their way into saying that they had been invited by King Hecate to perform here. And the storm giant guards, who basically are long-suffering and just want someone to make a decision, said, well, let's take you to the princess who is on the Wormskull throne, and she will make a decision for you about what's going to happen. They were introduced to the two hill giant guardians. I believe their names are Tug and Cog. Tug and Cog, who man the doors, and thought at first that the small folk might be dinner, until the storm giant guardian said, no, they're here to see the princess. And they said, okay, we open door. And they opened the door and allowed the party to come into the throne room. And as Tug and Cog step aside, and as the party sort of make their way into the throne room, Thaldohr had used his gem of seeing and had ascertained that the hill giants are indeed hill giants, that the princess on the throne is indeed a storm giant, that the male storm giant counselor sitting to her right hand is in fact a storm giant, and that the female storm giant counselor sitting on her left hand side is actually a huge blue dragon in disguise and not a storm giant. And there's enough people that know enough about dragons to recognize that the big skulls on this throne, where the princess is sitting, are in fact blue dragon skulls. So there's probably some sort of not really great, warm and fuzzy feelings on normally between the storm giants and blue dragons, but that is sort of where we left off. So, party members, you can feel free to go ahead and enter into the throne room, where the storm giant guards will introduce you. So as you all move up, they will slide up behind you. And
So before we entered that, after I said,
whoa,
sorry, what?
You sound like you're walking in a cave.
Yeah, you're in a cave. There's something really
cathedral.
That's what the throne room sounds like.
Yeah,
very accurate.
Maybe it is. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have ambient sound.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Try again, Michael. Michael?
No echo now?
Oh, you're
no echo now. There we go.
Okay, I had to turn the echo off. No, so before we walked in the throne room, I did whisper to Mulek in his ear. I said, "Blue dragon straight ahead to the right of the princess in the throne."
Okay.
Or I say that in Elvish because I don't think these people understand Elvish. So I say it low tone in Elvish to Mulek.
Okay.
And I nod and kind of whisper back, "How are we going to do this in Elvish?"
Well, I pull Falazure over because he understands Elvish. And we're just standing there real quick before we walk in. I was like, you, Falazure, Blue Dragon, right of main throne, in disguise. Jim is saying, I say all this in Elvish quick as I can. I'm thinking offer gift, maybe wand of dragon detection. You still have that, don't you, Mulek?
And I surreptitiously just reach my hand into my bag of holding and grab it and just kind of show it to him and nod.
Idea. I say, I'm just doing this quick because we're trying to, I'm like, as we're walking in, good idea. Okay. Go. I guess give to Falazure to give his gift, I guess.
Would Bell's sensitive ears pick this up?
You speak Elvish?
By any chance? Yes.
Okay.
He's already on alert with trying to hear everything and everything like that because, what if something majorly happens? Like, what if something's sneaking up behind us or crawling through the walls?
All right. So if you understand Elvish, make me a perception check because these guys are trying to whisper. So just make me a perception check. And yeah. You hear what they're saying. You hear what they're saying.
Pig Elvish.
Well, I mean, I'm still speaking Elvish, but I'm speaking quick enough that you would understand that it's. Imagine like an Elvish version of Thieves' Cant. I'm speaking Elvish, but I'm speaking quick because we don't have a lot of time between when we walked through, behind the door into the throne room, so they couldn't hear us. So that's why I'm whispering.
So, do I get the sense that Falazure's in with the plan?
Well, yeah, he's just not making eye contact or anything.
He's nodding his head.
Did you look at?
Damn, Dez picked up on it too. Apparently,
he reaches out for the wand.
Don't forget. I know there's somebody now that is speaking and comprehending languages, but Dez speaks Giant automatically, or it's one of his known languages. So,
yeah, the storm giant with their pikes, they will enter the door. I guess there's kind of a there's a little bit of a shuffle and encouragement that you all should kind of move in a little bit further, and the storm giants will come into the doors here, and they will wrap the butts of their halberds on the floor 3 times, kind of by way of announcement. And then one of them will call out, "My lady Serissa, we have visitors from the small folk. They claim to have an invitation from your father, King Hekaton. May I present the world famous," he says that with a little bit of dubiousness, "the world famous Falazure and his associate Bell and their retinue." And then the other storm giant guard will hold up the conch of teleportation, and they say, "Your Majesty, they had this in their possession. This does appear to be one of the conchs of teleportation that your father lent to invited guests to Maelstrom." And the princess says, "Oh, small folk. Isn't that wonderful, Uncle Iymrith?" And the storm giant male sitting to her right says, "These are troubled times. It is unusual, given recent events, that small folk should find their way here to Maelstrom at this time." And Iymrith says, "Yes, it is indeed suspicious that small folk would arrive here." And you then sort of get a sense of a jostling behind you, and the other 2 storm giant sisters, they sort of push their way between the other giants, and they say, "These may be the very small folk that arranged the kidnapping of your father and were involved in the murder of your mother." And Princess Serissa says, "The kidnapping of our father? Whoa. What gives you reason to say that our father was kidnapped? He is missing. That is all that we know for sure." And one of the princesses says, "Well, yes, but your advisor, Iymrith, she told us that our father had been kidnapped. She certainly must have some way of knowing." And Iymrith, she sort of shifts a little bit, and she clears her throat, and she says, "My princess, I do suspect that there has been some foul play, that your father was kidnapped. I hold out hope that he may yet be found alive. Given the unfortunate death of your mother, I did not want to fill your sisters with the despair that perhaps your father has met the same fate. And the princess looks over at the storm giant and she says, "Yes, I see. That is prudent. We do not want to rush to conclusions. I thank you, Iymrith, for being sure that we do not despair before we should." And then she says, "But how do you know that small folk were involved in my father's disappearance?" And Iymrith, she spreads her hands and she says, "Who can tell what the small folk are going to do? They are as mercurial as they are insignificant in size."
I mean, I could just tell you if you asked.
I will be waving her and saying, "Oh, we can play a song."
Like, if you have questions about what's on my mind, you could just ask. There's wrong in that.
Have they been speaking in common or giant this whole time?
No, they're carrying on this conversation in giant. So I'm just presuming that that Dez is
giant.
Sort of
Paul knows
Dez
giant
is doing.
too.
Say what?
I think Paul knows giant, right? And
that's why I responded.
Yeah, Paul knows giant, and so does Mulek because of that.
I cast comprehend languages.
Belle would still say to the rest of the party, like, "Are we gonna play a song?"
Belle and Falazure and Thaldohr, if you or anybody who doesn't speak giant, somebody else in the party would be kind of translating for you, and the guards who seem to speak both common and giant, initially they look down, but then they realize that you're sort of just translating what's going on, and they don't say anything. But you get the sense that they are they can sort of hear what you all are saying to each other during this part of it, because you're having to talk loud enough to be heard over the voices of the giants at the far end of the throne room. And this place does have some pretty amazing acoustics. The giants can speak at a normal speaking voice, and it fills this whole chamber like it is some sort of large amphitheater.
Falazure will speak up and he'll say, "Greetings, Your Royal Highness and the rest of the royal family. I've traveled a long way at the behest of your father to perform for him in his royal court, and I have brought you a gift. If you would be so humble as to receive such a humble gift."
And the male storm giant says, "You may give it to the guards." And one of the storm giant guards will step up next to Falazure. And
kind of hit his shoulder and says, "They were talking. That's rude."
Dez just kind of sits there when he's not interpreting and just starts packing his pipe with some stuff.
I'm gonna reach in my bag and I'm gonna pull out some I don't know, not like a super long, but he had some silk cloth in there for some reason, and he pulls it out and he walks over to Mulek and, may I have the Highness's gift?
Oh yeah, I would have already, as before we came in, I put my arm around your shoulder and whispered "good luck" in Elvish and told you that the code word was puff.
Okay. So he'll take it and he'll wrap it up in the nice silk cloth, and he'll motion for the guard to come over.
Okay, the guard comes over and holds out a giant-sized hand, and sort of lowers down so you can reach it.
He reaches up and he gives it to him.
Okay, and he will raise it up, and he will just sort of pull back the edge of the cloth just to look at the item. He won't touch it, and then he'll fold the cloth back over once he's satisfied that there's not like a scorpion or something in there, and then he will walk up to the towards the throne, and as he does, the Maelstrom giant will just sort of motion to him to let him have a look at it, and he will go over and he will show it to him, and he will look at, peel back the edge of the cloth and look at it, and he'll kind of nod, and then nod to the guard, who will step over to the throne. Now, I want to go ahead and give you a little bit more detail than we got at the end of last week. Facing the pool opposite you and the doors are 3 enormous thrones. The middle throne, on which Princess Serirssa sits, is carved from a solid chunk of obsidian and has 4 blue dragon skulls affixed to its base, and it floats 1 foot above the floor. So it's just hovering off of the floor. And the 2 smaller thrones that flank it are made of coral and giant seashells. And the young female giant who sits in that middle throne wields a wooden maul made from the mast of a warship, and she also is wearing a fancy-looking golden scepter around her neck, affixed to a necklace that is made of kelp. And the Maelstrom giant that is sitting next to her, he has a giant-sized trident. And this trident is gleaming much in the way that a magic weapon gleams. By the way, the throne has that sort of sheen of magic, and the scepter on the kelp necklace also has the sheen of magic to it. And I just say that because in my games, I always kind of give you a hint that when you find items, they're kind of aged and tarnished, except for that one, which is shiny and looks brand new. And usually that's a clue that it's magic. So you kind of have gotten used to the way magic items look. And even those of you who aren't magical, it's like, well, either that was just freshly polished or maybe it's magical. And then the other woman, she is dressed much more plainly. She wears elegant robes, but she does not have any obvious weapons, and she does not have any kind of symbol of office or ostentatious jewelry or anything like that on her. She just seems to be dressed rather plainly, although elegantly. She doesn't look out of place in a royal court, but she is definitely not trying to look fancier than the princess or her sisters. She is trying to look like she is a subordinate. And so this storm giant guard holds out the silk, and the princess looks over at her uncle, and her uncle nods, and she pulls back the silk, and she says, "Oh, a gift, a wand. Is this a magical wand?" She asks you all.
Yes, Your Highness.
And now she speaks in common to you. She says, "Is this a magical wand?"
I will kind of cover her mouth and say, "She can understand me."
Go ahead, Falazure.
Yes, Your Highness, it is. It's a beautiful gift for an even more beautiful princess.
And you guys feel sort of a jostling behind you, and the other two princesses, they work their way around the hill giants and come up closer to the throne, each of them going staying as far away from the small folk as they can, but getting over closer to here. And the Mirren is the one who was singing before. She looks at her sister on the throne and she says, "Be careful, sister. It may be a trap." And the princess says, "Oh, sister, you mistrust the small folk so much. When Mother and I would visit the shores of the isles where the small folk lived, they were always so pleasant, and they would bring us gifts, and Mother, of course, would bring them gifts. You seem to think that small folk are always in conflict with giants. Well, I think that's only because the cousins of our dear Tug and Cog wind up stealing their sheep and eating their produce and occasionally raiding their farms and sometimes sitting on their houses. And that is why they are in conflict with giants. If we could train the hill giants to be a little bit more civilized, I don't think that there would be so much conflict between small folk and giants." And her sister over here, Nim, on the other side, the one who was playing the giant crab pipe organ, she just sort of crosses her hands over her belly and just gives a huff in the direction of you guys, like she doesn't believe a word of that. And so Serirssa will then look at you and say, "What does it do?"
Well, Your Highness, you take a hold of it, and I will give you the magical word.
And the male storm giant who is over here says, "The princess asked you a question, which was not how to activate it. Please, before she activates it blindly, we would like to know what the wand does."
Oh, yes, of course. Excuse me. tend to be a little bit more blunt. I apologize. Well, it is a Falazure leans over. He's like, Mulek, what is it again? It is a wand of dragon detection. I felt it was a gift befitting such a noble house, considering your great disdain for dragons, and think of it as a practical protection gift.
A wand of dragon detection? Oh, how delightful. Well, of course, we'll have to wait until we go somewhere where we are liable to find some dragons before we use it. We would never find any dragons in the court of Maelstrom, now would we? And the two sisters, they start laughing, and
it is a bit of a puff piece.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you say that, but she has to say the word in order to activate it, because she's holding it. So all you got to do is raise it up and say "puff, Your Majesty." Try it out; it's fun. And she says, "Oh well, perhaps a little bit later. But I am curious. I see the conch of teleportation. You say my father invited you here. For what purpose did he invite you?"
Well,
and everybody can give me an insight check on all the people in the throne room here.
Oh, I hate that. It landed on 20, then rolled to an 8. Oh.
Okay. Falazure and Dez and Mulek. The three of you all, when you start talking about wand of dragon detection, all three of you definitely see this storm giant lady to the left of the throne. She gets kind of anxious, and pretty soon the princess starts to laugh this off. And so then she seems to relax a little bit. I need to make a here.
Huh?
Let's see. Okay. All right. Then they, so she seems to relax a little bit. And now, because the princess is once again focusing the conversation back on the gift givers and not on the gift itself. And so she asks once again in common, for what purpose did my father invite you to Maelstrom?
Elle kind of raises her hand and says, if I may, she'll kind of take a step forward and say, we're here to play some music. She'll kind of hold up her dulcimer with some proudness and gleam in her eyes, and she says, well, your sister's here, not to be mean or anything, kind of suspect us to be, hiding something, so maybe to cleanse their mind, it would be a good idea for you to do the wandy thingy, whatever it does, I don't know, I wasn't listening, so they can be a little bit calm. Right?
And the princess Princess Serirssa, she says, "Are you a tabaxi? I have heard of tabaxi, but I have never met one. Oh, how delightful you are, and with a dulcimer. Oh, please," and she claps her hands. "Please sing for us. Please play a song for us."
Oh, my pleasure. What song? What type of song? Oh, I can play this one. She'll just rumble on with songs until Falazure gets the idea to jump in, just start playing something.
Okay, so what I would like Belle to do is I would like Belle to make a performance check. And then and this is a check. I'm looking for something in a range. And after she makes her check, we'll see what happens. So go ahead and make.
I do have the bardic inspiration from Falazure as well.
Yep. So 14 plus, I think it's a D8.
And I'll use my inspiration to make it a 20.
22.
Oh, 22? 22?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's a 22. And Falazure, you recognize, oh, yeah, she's launched into a sea shanty. That'd probably go over well here. And it's one that you know. So you can go ahead and join in. And as you do, go ahead and make a performance check.
Okay.
And I believe you have bardic inspiration from Belle as well. Oh, okay. So you may not even need it. And Falazure comes in and he starts playing. And Belle, as you start singing, Falazure will begin singing a counter melody. And so now both the instruments and the voices are sort of weaving back and forth. And it's not long before the floor begins to shake a little bit rhythmically. And as you guys look, you can see to either side, Cog and Tug, they have their big wooden great clubs, and they're just sort of bouncing the heads of their great clubs on the floor in time with the music. And they've got these big grins on their faces, and they'll go, they're enjoying the song as you guys are singing. And then you begin to see that Princess Serirssa, she begins to clap. And of course, when she begins to clap, the woman next to her, she starts to clap, and she looks at the other two princesses and nods her head. And so then reluctantly, the other two princesses, they start to clap. And then after a while, you will begin to hear from behind you the clapping of the stone giant and the clapping of the cloud giant. The frost giant and the fire giant, they don't seem to clap along. Neither do the storm giant guards nor the uncle. The uncle seems to relax a little bit hearing the music, but his face never broadens into a smile. He's very attentive, watching all of you very carefully, and seeming to watch everyone. He's still not quite sure about this, and the guards seem very well trained. They're on guard for anything. And the frost giant and the fire giant, okay, they're still kind of suspicious of you guys. But it seems like most of the other giants are kind of enjoying this. So you all play the song, and it comes to an end, and then Princess Serirssa, she applauds loudly, and she says, "Bravo, bravo! Well, this is wonderful. I am so terribly sorry that my father is not here for this performance, and I know that he would. Now I know why he invited you. Surely, Belle and Falazure, you must be world famous among the small folk. Guards, will you please prepare the humanoid-sized guest accommodations for these small folk?" And then she turns back to you, and she says, again in common, she says, "Please, my guards will lead you to accommodations where you can rest and refresh yourselves. Later this evening, we will be having a banquet in the main banquet hall. I will invite you there, and I would very much hope that I will have a chance to speak with you."
She's mid-sentence. Falazure just...
Falazure just what?
Oh, boy. I'm going to roll for it. Let's see. See what I roll. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. All right, I'm doing it. I cast Dispel Magic on this creature right here.
You cast a spell.
While you're playing your song?
No, this is at the end while
she's kind of like almost mid-sentence. Yeah.
Okay. Let's double check.
I meant to cast that at...
What is...
You did it at 5th level.
I didn't mean to do that at 5th level.
Oh.
Hold on. Why the hell would I do that at 5th level? I don't even know why it said that. I shouldn't have at 5th level.
120 feet. Okay.
I just wanted to do it at 4th level. That's what I wanted to do it at. I'm sorry. I was under the 5th level tab when I cast it. My bad.
Okay. All right. Creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends. Any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends for each spell of yes. All right. So, are you trying to cast this stealthily? So that
quickly at 4th level, just
okay. So
I'm hoping that like while she's talking, maybe me casting it can be less noticeable. Basically.
All right.
Well, Dez is still sitting there, like making like smoke rings within smoke rings within smoke rings, basically just a complete distraction to anybody that's even fascinated with that kind of crap. So
yeah, I'm gonna say passive. Let's see, what is the passive?
It's a GM calls, but it's
okay.
advice for the spell magic
right.
affect wild shapes and things like that.
Right. I'm not worried about that. I am worried about a rash action being detected, and these guards are very well trained. They have a really high passive perception. So, Falazure, before you cast your spell, I am going to need you to roll initiative.
Oh shit! Okay.
Because this storm giant seeing what's happening.
I would like to use. Can I use advantage from a player to re-roll, or ahead of advantage?
You're in the chat.
Yeah. I had one from chat. Right.
Yeah. You can use that from chat from last time.
And I'm going to use my Bardic Inspiration on top of that because it is a skill.
Okay. Never whisper rolls. And do this, and then we will.
Oh my god!
Oh goodness, Falazure.
Oh no!
The guard just
Okay.
heard him say it.
Okay, so
you know what? F that. I'm re-rolling. I'm re-rolling the main one with Chrono Shift. We're just gonna get it all. This is important.
You mean Fortune's Favor?
Fortune's Favor.
Oh yeah, Fortune's Favor. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No. It's supposed to be a D8. My bad. Oh, it doesn't matter. Fuck it. All right, this is just gonna go horribly. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna add a turn, and it's
everything. Stupid thing.
12.
You can only try, my friend.
Some days the diamond.
Okay. All right. So you start casting a spell.
Yep.
And this giant now a good thing about it is it's the butt of the halberd. This, and it's going to say greatsword, but it's a halberd. It's the same attack bonus and same damage. But it's attacking to subdue, not attacking for lethal damage at this point.
Okay.
But it will make 2 attacks with its halberd at you. The first one is a 16. The second one is a 24. And does a 16 hit?
Does not. Now cutting words.
Okay. So 24 will hit for 29.
I'm going to cutting words it. Hold on.
Okay.
You're going to swing at me. I'm going to cutting words it.
Okay.
Action.
More than words.
Text 29 will cutting words even take it low enough.
All right. So I roll it.
When a creature is just okay. Damage roll. Use reaction to expend one of your bardic inspiration and subtract the number rolled from the creature's roll. And that is the an attack roll, ability check, or damage. So do you want to use this against the attack roll or the damage?
The attack roll.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your D8. 4. So will an AC 20 hit you?
It will not.
AC 20 will miss. And when the storm giant will say, "This one cast a spell."
No, I didn't.
And then the stone giant will reach out, and the stone giant will attempt to grapple you.
So the spell went off, but there was no effect?
Where is he? I can't make him out amongst all these.
Well, if the stone giant's trying to get past me in order to grapple.
So which one is trying to grab him?
The stone giant.
Okay.
Did the spell go off? Yes or no?
Did the spell go off in 5th edition? If you get hit while you're casting a spell, do you need to do like any kind of check, or is it like only because you got hit before your spell went off?
He missed on both attacks. So yeah.
Oh, he missed on both. He missed on both attacks.
Yeah, he missed on both.
Okay, all right. So then, yeah, your spell goes off and nothing happens.
Oh, great.
Okay. So
really?
Yeah, nothing happens.
Can Dez move? While this is all going on?
If you want to move, I'll need you to go ahead and roll initiative, and seeing that, I should roll initiative for this guy because he's going to react.
So she's not under the effect of a polymorph spell?
No, she's a blue dragon. She can shapeshift.
Under what?
It's not a spell.
Outside of player.
Seriously?
Yeah, blue dragons in general are not a spell.
I don't see that on their list out of character.
Okay, well,
GM, go.
out of character. First of all, there's no reason you should be looking at any monster statistics during the game. That's number one.
After the failure.
There's no reason you should do that. Number one, so don't let it happen again. Number two, this is a named enemy in the adventure, so you also do not know what kinds of things this enemy may have that would, that might mitigate some of the things that a clever player would try to do to reveal their ruse.
Well, first of all, I'm just going off the knowledge that also Falazure had gotten about dragons when he rolled really high 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, about their innate abilities and things like that. So he knows about dragons. So I'm not trying to metagame or anything.
Okay.
I just assumed from a character's perspective that she was under polymorph spell, but I guess that's not the case. So that's fine.
Fair enough.
Or she might be under that spell, and she might have a way of, preventing that from being dispelled. Who knows what kind of magic items a dragon can amass over their long lives.
So this guy's coming at me now.
So this guy is coming at you simultaneous with Dez, but before they can act, all right, come on. Before they can act, Bell, you see things going south very quickly. Falazure has done something rather rash, perhaps foolish. The guard doesn't seem to like that. This giant ambassador doesn't seem to like that. They seem to be attempting to restrain. Now, this stone giant hasn't drawn a weapon, but these other giants behind them, you can see them reaching for weapons, and you can see now the hill giants. They're just kind of looking confused. They don't know what's going on, and this giant here is just going to step up here. And this giant here will step in front of the throne where his niece is sitting, and just kind of physically put himself between her and you guys. And but this guy's not going to approach any closer at this point. He's just sort of there watching. Go ahead.
Can any of us say anything or do anything, or do we all need to roll initiative to see if we can get some, say or do anything?
I guess what we're gonna hold it for this round. We're gonna hold it for everybody that is on the board. At the end of the round, we'll let everybody else do something. But Belle, you are up. Seeing what is transpiring in the room, what would Belle like to do?
So kind of like, oh no, Falazure. She'll kind of sigh and rub her forehead, and then she'll kind of take a step forward and look at the princess that's on the throne and says, Ma'am, I know this is a very tricky situation to understand, but my friend here, this doofus, that one, she'll kind of point and then just toss her fingers and says, he's kind of a fool sometimes. He sometimes likes to do drugs, and he does things that he doesn't mean to do. So
And
can we come up with an agreement to just handcuff him type of thing so he can't do anything?
and make a persuasion check. And I'm going to say you have to make this at disadvantage because the people who officially guard here. Okay, that's no, that's not perception, a persuasion.
Oh, oops. There. Okay.
Okay, 12. And the this giant here, the uncle, this uncle will say, "Princess, oh, I'm not sure if we can trust them. At the very least, I think we should strip all of their magic items from them and hold them in detention until we can find out what's going on." And meanwhile, Dez, you and the stone giant are going simultaneously, and by the order of Roll20, it put you in front of the stone giant. So I guess marginally, you will get to act first. So
One other thing?
what would you
What I
like
was
to
planning
do?
on kind of doing was basically, oh shit, how do I articulate this? If the giant is reaching for him and Bell's
this giant is, yes.
okay. Dez will basically step, now that Bell had moved forward, Dez will move forward and then actually bump into Falazure and literally take Falazure's place. While kind of like
Krenraid
holding
would
up
not
his
allow.
hands like, hey, So he's basically hip checking Falazure to move him a little bit over and basically putting himself right in place where that giant was going to be reaching.
Okay, so this is going to require, I'm going to say that will require an athletics check on Dez's part.
Okay.
Because you're trying to do this maneuver.
Yeah, so I kept getting interrupted, but Krenraid would not allow a giant he's keeping an eye on to immediately try and grapple one of his friends.
Okay, so okay, all right. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't know that more of you all had rolled initiative here.
No, I just kept getting interrupted, so I couldn't say anything.
Okay, so all right. So we are going to come back to you next, Krenraid.
No problem. I'm not in any rush.
And
all right,
sorry,
so
I forgot to mention I was going to. Do you allow dinosaurs in your game for shape shifting?
Oh my goodness, this is going so south.
I'm simply asking a question. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm just asking.
Let's diffuse this whole situation.
Well, dinosaurs do exist in Chult. So yes, they're a natural. Okay. As long as they are dinosaurs from a published source, no homebrew crap, no third party stuff.
This is part of the monster manual.
Okay, then yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
But
so,
he's just basically going to push Falazure to the side and basically take his place.
Okay, Falazure, you have just been hip checked with a 25. Are you going to allow yourself to basically be pushed aside, or are you going to try to resist?
No, I mean, she wants to push me aside. Not really facing that direction anyway, so.
So you probably end up staggering.
So, whoops.
She can push me 5 feet if she wants.
Wait a minute. I thought this was.
That's where Krenraid was.
So he basically booty checked me out of the way.
Okay, I thought Falazure was there.
No, I'm right here.
Initially. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's why I was
right here.
I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go ahead. All right. So, Krenraid and Dez are now there between the Stone Giant and Falazure. All right. So, Krenraid. Now your
I think
your
Dez
Furbolg
needs to
friend
finish
is up next to you. So, what would you like to do?
Oh, is Dez transforming into something?
Nope.
I don't think
Basically, he puts himself in Falazure's spot as the dinosaur. Good God! As the giant starts to reach forward towards him.
Dez's action was to do that athletics check, so so it doesn't have an action to cast a spell.
Well, I'm keeping an eye on the giants around me, making sure that we're all okay, rather than trying to inject
So
myself
then,
into the
basically,
conversation.
Dez just holds his hands. Held his hands up, in front of him to say, "Stop."
Krenraid. Okay, Krenraid. What are you doing?
So I would like to interject myself and grapple the stone giant instead. So I'm going to shout out, "A wrestling match! What fun!" And the grapple.
No, Krenraid.
Oh dear.
Counter grapples. Here we go.
Okay, so you want to grapple this stone giant.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, everybody. This campaign made it to 59 sessions. It may not make it to 60. We're about to find out.
It's not a damaging attack, all right? We're engaging in a bit of friendly roughhousing. It's a wrestling match.
Yeah. No.
That's what you would like to think of it.
That's what I'm going to say. It's not what I'm going to think. It's what I'm going to tell them, whether they choose to believe it or not.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Okay, so everybody else, be quiet for a moment. Krenraid, go make your attack roll. This is an attack to grapple.
25.
Okay. Do you have the same attack bonus with your unarmed attack? Because you're not using your maul to grapple.
I can use my maul to assist my grapple, and it is currently out.
Okay. Describe how you would use your maul to assist a grapple.
So as he's reaching forward to try and grab Falazure, who's now been replaced by Dez, I'm not really seeing that exchange so much. As he reaches his hand out, I'm using the maul, wrapping my arms around it, kind of using it like a bar, and then dragging him down to my level so I can get a better grip on his neck or on his legs or anything else that's a bit easier for me to grab. So essentially, I'm grabbing him and dragging him to me.
If I see this, do I have the ability to yell, "Don't"?
Technically, no, because technically he goes in initiative before you.
Okay.
So,
she can
19 will hit. So you're not intending to do damage because you just want to make it an opposed strength check. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, so he doesn't take any damage, but he has to make either an athletics or a acrobatics check to try to break it. So he will make an athletics check, and his athletics check is a 20. So he will easily just break out of that, and he will say, "Dwarf, your friend is in enough trouble. Put down your weapon."
I thought we were having a fun wrestling match. It's part of the festivities, isn't it?
And the storm giant guard says, "No, small folk, all of you, weapons down now." And
hey, all right. I'll put down my weapon. Calm down.
And the Okay, so it's the end of the round. We're back to the Storm Giant. Everybody else that did not act.
I rolled initiative though.
Okay, so Falazure, what were you going to do? Or not Falazure. I'm sorry, Thaldohr. Thaldohr, what were you going to do?
So Thaldohr uses a free action to talk to the princess sitting on the throne. Your Majesty, as I bow, sorry for the confusion. Falazure was just, doing what Falazure does, trying to amp up the performance. I'm his manager. He wasn't trying any harm, wasn't doing anything to hurt anybody. It's part of his performance.
Are you intending to make this a bluff or a persuasion?
I only have +1, so we better hope it's a good persuasion. But I think I do have chat advantage, so we hope that kicks in. But a persuasion.
Okay.
So, and to make everyone at ease, Your Majesty.
This will be with disadvantage. So it would be a
straight roll.
I will let you since it's disadvantage. I will let you re-roll it and roll with disadvantage. And if you want to, I'll let you re-roll with disadvantage again and see which disadvantage is higher.
Oh no!
So you can do that. So, you might get a 19 and 20 on your die roll. Who knows?
Maybe, you never know, or a nat 20. So yeah, I'll try, guys, best I can do, because I can't attack anybody and I don't plan on it. So hold on. So let me try. You said persuasion.
Yep.
Falazure has a
+9 in deception, but deception would have been better. But I'm not lying to her. Well, no, I am lying to her. That would be deception. I'm lying.
Okay, but the intent is to try to diffuse the situation.
Fair.
Lying to her that way makes you think, I don't know. So the first one is an 18, or first one is an 8. So go ahead and roll with disadvantage again.
Roll 20 said it was 8.
Yeah, the dice don't like me tonight.
Yeah. So the highest disadvantage roll is an 8. She is not convinced, and you guys realize the more you talk, the more tense the situation is getting. And as the round comes to an end, even Tug and Cog seem to finally realize, something bad is happening, and they, the smiles fade from their faces and they start to heft their clubs. Meanwhile, the frost giant, the cloud giant, the frost giant, and the fire giant all pull their weapons, and they are looking at you menacingly. So now it's the end of the round. Anybody who is not on the who has not done anything. So Mulek, start with you. What do you do at the end of the round?
I was just gonna say, hold up. My friend here, Falazure, is just upset. He's upset that from where he's from, it's tradition that when you offer a gift, that the receiver will use that gift as a show of thanks. And whatever he's done, I think it's just a whole big misunderstanding. We have no intention here to fight with you.
And the advisor here looks at the princess and says, "This is indeed, Princess Serirssa, a misunderstanding. It is a misunderstanding by your poor unfortunate father that he had invited such treacherous small folk here, that come on the heels of the tragedy that Maelstrom has already suffered, and they wish to bring violence to your halls. Please, I beg of you, listen to your uncle. Have them disarmed. Have them imprisoned. Have them interrogated. And then decide what the proper punishment for them should be.
Why on earth would any of us willingly walk into a room full of giant creatures in this lovely abode in an attempt to do treachery and deceit? That would be suicidal. What are you talking about?
And the as Krenraid starts, the Storm Giant Guard will bellow, "Silence!" Let me double check something here. No. Okay, so now I have to go over here. I have to go. All right. All right, that not there. Let's see this. Nope, not there. And this, I thought this guy might have something, but all right. No, doesn't. All right, so let me see what these folks have. Crying out loud. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And nothing useful. Would she? That's the question. Would she use this if she has it? Oh, she doesn't have it. So she wouldn't. Okay. Then, yeah, the giant will just order you, bellow for you all to be silent, and you all and everybody seems to ignore the rest of whatever Krenraid was saying at that. Okay, just going down the list. As I call on you, tell me what you would do, because right now you're gradually being surrounded by giants to make sure that you cannot get any closer to the throne. They all appear to be, they all appear to think that the princess is in some sort of danger from you. And everything you have been doing thus far is not helping the situation, so you might want to think about different tactics.
If I may respectively disagree. There have been several free action attempts to try and defuse the situation by the players that haven't required rolls, but there have been attempts.
Okay. Thaldohr, what do you want to do?
I've done tried talking myself out of the situation, which didn't help out too much at all. I look over, hold on. I look over at Mulek with a free action. I do speak to Mulek. And I guess Falazure's next to me as well, and I speak in Elvish. Is there any way we can activate the wand without her, while she's holding it?
I nod my head no.
Great. So that's screwed. I guess I just take my crossbow that I have slung around my back and I lay it to the ground, hold my hands up.
Okay. So you are voluntarily disarming.
Yep.
That seems. The storm giant guard looks at you and just gives you a nod. And then the storm giant guard will look at the rest of you and say, "Put down your weapons, the rest of you."
Krenraid already has in the last round.
Okay.
Yeah, Mulek has never touched anything. I'm just standing there. My hands are open, doing nothing.
Okay. All right.
Dez is just leaning against his walking stick. Like, well, wait, he's not leaning against it. He basically has it kind of like held out. Originally, he's still kind of stuck in that position of trying to guard Falazure's back.
Okay.
But then we'll kind of, in a form of a bow, he will set the staff on the floor, even though he looks like he doesn't really want to. But,
Okay.
Okay.
Falazure, he remembers a beautiful elvish lullaby that his mother used to sing to him when he was little, and he just starts. I don't know if it's because he's slightly nervous or just more of a like an instinctual thing. He starts playing it and singing as sweetly as he can. Because all he's holding is his lute/guitar. I mean, he's not in any kind of threatening pose or anything. Want to let me roll for that or not? Or they want to beat me over the head? Whatever they want to do, but that's what he's going to do.
Okay.
An attempt to try to just at least baffle some people.
As you start to pluck the notes, the uncle will say, "Guards, and get his instrument. It is well known that bards are able to enchant people with their music. We'll have none of that." And so the storm giant will just reach out a hand towards you, look at you, shake his head solemnly. "Nope, stop playing," and point to the ground to put the instrument down.
He stops playing. He didn't put it down.
Okay. All right. So, Bell, what about you?
Bell had to go.
Oh, Bell had to go. All right. Okay. So, we'll say Bell just is sitting there holding her dulcimer. Well, as there appear to be no more threats at the moment, the princess Serirssa, she will allow the tension and the silence to drag out for a few more heartbeats, and then as some of her guests and her family members get a little bit anxious, she will speak up and she will say, "While I sit in the Wormskull throne, I speak for my father. I believe that these humanoids, have acted rashly and have chosen poorly. But as of yet, no harm has come to any of us, and they have complied with the request to put down their weapons. Guards, I would ask you to summon what additional guards you need to search and disarm the humanoids, And then, as I requested before, take them to the humanoid guest quarters. Keep them under guard. I will decide, after examining their weapons and perhaps talking to them one by one, what is to be done with them. And then she looks sternly at all of you, and she says, please, do not put my faith in the intelligence and kindness of small folk to any further tests. If mine uncle and my sisters had their way, you would already be in irons or worse. Do not tempt your fate any further. Do as you are bidden, and answer truthfully when I speak with you. And you may yet leave this place as guests. Do I make myself clear?
That was only ever our intention, I can assure you of that.
Well, if I may say, Master Dwarf, some of you had a very poor way of showing that. And then she looks at her uncle and she says, does this meet with your approval, uncle? And he says, I would rather have them in chains, but as you say, you speak for your father while you are in the throne. I will obey as you command. And then he calls to the guards. He says, guests, please help to watch the prisoners while, or please help to watch the small folk while, fudge. What's a good storm giant name?
Out of character, just real quick
Yeah.
question. So they had earlier kind of made a fuss over the tabaxi. Have heard of one, but never seen one. Have they seen a
Furbolg.
Thank you. Sorry. Long week. A furbolg before.
They apparently so.
Okay.
And furbolgs do have some giant blood in them. So
okay. Because I'm
yeah.
like the tallest of the group. So
yeah. So they will do this, and who is the one? Rathor. Okay, so Uncle Uthor points to the storm giant in the back and says, Rathor, go and get 3 more guards, bring them here, and when you return, escort the small folk to the humanoid quarters. And he starts to move off, and the rest of these giants will sort of fill in around here, again, to cut you guys off from going anywhere that they don't want you to go. And the cloud giant will look down at you all, and he will say, all right, all of your weapons on the ground. And the other storm giant will say, Tug, Cog, as the small folk lay their weapons down, please set them aside. Do not damage them. Set them aside so they can be examined. And they go, okay. And so Let me just ask, because I don't want to go through your entire inventory, but let me just ask, what, if any, weapons are you trying to keep hidden? And we will go Falazure. You trying to keep any weapons hidden, or when they ask you to put weapons down, you're going to put them all down?
Sure.
Okay, I'm taking sure as you're putting them all down.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Mulek, you're going to try to keep any weapons concealed, or are you going to put them all down?
I've just had the 2 daggers, and then I've got everything else is in my bag of holding. So I would hand over my daggers.
Okay, so you put the daggers down on the floor. Krenraid, you've already put your maul down. Any weapons you're trying to keep concealed?
No, I'm putting it all down.
Okay, all right. Dez, you've already laid down your staff. Anything else you're trying to keep concealed, if you have anything else?
My sling. But I have my sling rigged up like an armband.
Okay, all right.
So it's just a piece of leather with string wrapped around my arm, like,
Okay.
an upper bicep armband.
Okay. Give me a stealth check with advantage. Because that looks looks a little.
You gotta be kidding me.
Dice have been horrible tonight.
Dez does have advantage from the chat, just an FYI.
Okay, so go ahead and roll again with advantage.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh, we're already in trouble. They seem incredibly one-minded about this.
Damn it.
Okay, 17. Yeah, they just they don't seem to notice that. And last but not least, Thaldohr. You're going to try to conceal any weapons, or are you putting all of your weapons on the ground?
Well, I didn't put my crossbow on the ground earlier.
Yeah.
Only thing I have is my sword and my daggers, one being broken, one not being broken. I might try to conceal one dagger.
Okay, so go ahead and make a stealth or sleight of hand check, whichever is better for you.
Stealth
with advantage.
Oh, I'll roll again and see if I got a nat 20. Okay.
Yeah.
No, 23.
Okay, 23. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they seem to be satisfied, and the for all of their oafishness, these 2 hill giants do very carefully pick up your weapons, and they put them on the other side of the hill giants from you guys. But they don't take them out of the room. They leave them right here. And as you all do that, the stone giant relaxes a bit. The cloud giant relaxes a bit. The frost giant and the fire giant, they actually look at you a little bit disappointed, as though they're disappointed that you actually are following instructions. You get the feeling that they would think it would be kind of fun to bash in small folk heads if they got the chance. And the hill giants, they just seem to have a job to do, and now that they're given a job, that's about all they can focus on.
Sorry, what is the stone giant doing?
The stone giant relaxes a little bit.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to do down through the magic of copy and paste. The the one stone giant that went away becomes 4 stone giants coming back. And now the rest of these guys, they all step out of the way. And the uncle and the storm giant guard, they sort of get you guys all gathered round, and they will lead you back to the to those human-sized quarters that you all found before. Let me just quickly ask, would you all resist being led back there, or would you just walk along with them as they lead you?
Walk along.
Yeah, Mulek would just walk along.
Okay. All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our break. I have half past the hour, so we'll go ahead and take 10 minutes. And we'll come back and we will pick up with you guys in the human quarters, and some time will have passed, and we will see what happens next.
Together?
Yes, they are going to. Well, we'll find out when we get back from break.
Okay.
All right.
Don't forget, guys. There's another talk channel if you want to privately go over and
talk. General voice channel if you want to talk away from the chat, or you can stay here if you want the chat to be in on what you all are discussing. And chat, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will be back in a few minutes. I'm going to bring the sound up. And I'll mute myself, and I'll be back
in a bit.
All right, so Chet. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think the players are kind of guilty of making some suboptimal decisions based on the situation. Yeah, casting a spell that, could potentially be a hostile spell in the hall of a storm giant noble doesn't seem like the greatest way to win friends and influence all of these giants here. The other thing, of course, that I am privy to, that the players are not privy to, is that the campaign gives me notes on what the reactions of all of the different storm giant, or all the different giants in the hall are if the players start making such decisions. So we'll have to see when they come back what they think they might be in for. Oh.
There you go.
Hey.
I'm going to get myself some hot chocolate before we pop back in. Won't be too much.
Sure. Go ahead. Still have a couple of minutes.
Okay, rude. I was trying to make a giggling joke. Sheesh. No one's in the mood for Belle tonight besides the queen. Sheesh.
Yeah.
My true friend.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, well, no accounting for taste, right?
Hopefully she does not like eating tabaxis.
No, she doesn't.
Good.
She doesn't seem to be that type of queen. All right. So I know a couple of people have stepped away, but I think most of the people are back. I'm going to gradually get us into the transition and change the map. All right. So a little bit of time has passed. And by a little bit of time, I mean about an hour has passed since you all were led from the throne room, and you were taken back to these guest accommodations here, and you were put into one room. Apparently, they decided that putting you all in one room was better than splitting you up into two rooms because it makes it easier to keep an eye on you. And you know that, at least from what you saw, looking out the door, there are at a minimum 4 storm giant guards who are keeping an eye on you here. And by keeping an eye on you, that means keeping you from leaving your or trying to keep you from leaving your accommodations. Anytime you go to the door, you find that you find that this door is actually now locked from the outside. So you all could try to unlock it, but if you knock on it, they will unlock the door. And by peeking out, you can tell there are 2 storm giants, one on either side of the door, and then 2 more down at the end of the corridor. So they at least seem to believe that they have you well guarded at this point. So, like I said, about an hour has passed since you were taken here. And let me ask, first of all, is everybody back from break?
I am back.
Mulek's back.
I am.
Okay, if anybody is not back yet, please speak up.
All back.
Okay, all right. Then,
Excuse me.
what we will say is after about an hour, the door unlocks, and the storm giant guards have a trolley there that has on it several large serving dishes that are covered, and several pitchers with that have condensation on the outside. So whatever's in those pitchers appears to be cool. They will. They say, "We do not want our guests to starve. Please, there should be sufficient food there. If you need more, after you have eaten your fill, knock on the door, let us know. We can procure some more." And they will push the trolley into the room. then they will close the door and you hear the lock in it again. So now you have a big serving cart, and as you start to look at it, there's, not unsurprisingly, there's a lot of seafood. So there's like swordfish steaks, and
someone say seafood?
yeah, there's swordfish steaks. There's like some grilled lobster and crab with drawn butter. There's some. There's obviously seaweed that's been prepared several different ways. There's also some sort of kind of sweet, almost berry type of thing that apparently grows on some sort of underwater plant. That is one of the side dishes there. And there's something that must not be, but almost has the consistency and taste of mashed potatoes. And there's some sauces and gravies and stuff that go with that. So it's a pretty filling meal for most of you. And the liquids turn out to be non-alcoholic. One of them is water, and one of the pitchers is water, and the other pitcher is some kind of a lightly sweet, fruity drink. It's almost like fruit juice, but given the fact that everything else here seems to come from under the sea, you're not sure what this sweet juice is drawn from, but who knows what?
Probably fish guts.
Yeah, who knows?
Falazure
Who
picks
knows?
up a lobster and he puppets towards Belle and he's like, "Look, I'm under the sea." All right.
You quickly kind of like lean in slowly and then just scoop it out of his hands and eat it.
Oh wow. He also says, he's like, "Well, gang, I'm sorry. I thought it was gonna work, and she didn't want to use the damn wand, and I thought we had another Gruckle-Stug situation on our hands, and I went for the more prudent, blunt option, I guess, if you will. And I got us in trouble."
You tried your best, didn't you? That's all that really counts, right? He says, snacking on a lobster.
Sometimes my friend Krenraid finger waggling doesn't quite work.
I'm no expert in the wizarding arts, alright, but I know there's some spells that make you feel pain and some spells that make you feel something else. I don't know what you were trying to do, but I'm assuming it wasn't a giant explosion of fire or something.
Well, based on the information that Mulek and Thaldohr gave me, I thought that creature, whatever the hell it is, they said it's a blue dragon, but I thought they were using magic to conceal themselves, and I thought, well, I'll just dispel the magic. Well, that didn't work, which got me really curious because there has to be something that's interfering.
What if you could just change her form, like Dez could turn into a dog, or was it dog Dez turning into a human? But wait, what are you again? He looks at Dez.
I'm a furbolg.
Well, it was a risky move, and we rolled the dice, and they didn't. Figuratively speaking, they didn't go our way.
That was good.
If Mulek has used his DM inspiration at this point, I think he can go ahead and
I still have it.
Okay, all right. Then you can give DM inspiration to somebody else.
Falazure, you need it.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. All right. So as you
I already have inspiration. Anybody else want it?
Give it to
I'll
Belle.
have it.
All right, Belle. Cheers.
all right.
Bill kind of knocks
As-
on the doors. Keys on knocking, quietly knocking.
Okay, so it's funny that you go to the door because you're not quite sure. It's almost you're raising your hand to start knocking on the door, and you hear the sound of the key in the lock, even before you can begin knocking on the door. And it's like, oh,
That's
maybe
my
these
instinct.
maybe these giants are psychic or something, or maybe they have a way of looking in here and seeing. But what you see when the door opens is you see Imperator Uthor, who is the uncle. And the uncle stands there in the hallway. The two other storm giants will step aside, and he will he will just step up to the door. He will not try to enter the room. He will say, I want you to know that while you started poorly, you made a good decision to lay down your weapons, including some very nice magical weapons. I am here to take one of you to speak with my niece. You will speak with her. I will be in the room. 2 guards will be in the room. No one else will be in the room. You will not, until you satisfy my niece that you do not mean any harm here. And furthermore, until you satisfy me that you do not mean any harm here, you will not have any opportunities to speak more privately with my niece. But she has decided whom she would like to speak with first. She has asked my counsel, and I have offered my suggestion, and she has taken it. And he looks around the room, and he points a finger across to the Furbolg.
Yeah.
And he says, you, little
Dez.
brother,
Okay.
come with me.
Dez had made himself comfortable in the corner, just resting on the floor. And at that point in time, he pretty much unfolds himself and stands up to his over 7-foot height and gives him a slight bow and goes, yes, big brother, I will be first. And he walks out the door.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Dez, you walk out with, and there's no need for you to move your token off of this map. I am going to bring you back over to this map, paste you here, and paste the paste him here, and then I'm going to move the ribbon back over here. All right, so I believe now, yes, okay. You are led through the throne room. Okay, actually, and all these guys, the throne room is not littered with people. These guys are all okay over here. All right, so No, bother. Bother and confound. There we go. You are in this room here. And I will tell you what you see. This is a room that looks like it is a chamber for private meetings. There is a muscle shell table that stands in the middle of the room, giant-sized, of course. Lining the walls are 2 giant-sized wooden bookshelves covered with nautical charts, as well as 2 enormous anemone. A concave wall to the south has a giant. Concave wall to the south is kind of interesting because it juts out into the room. You don't see any doors, but it kind of springs to mind that spiral staircase. So perhaps there is another such staircase that is accessed through there somehow. And again, this room is not flooded. There is a humanoid-sized chair on the other side of the table, and the princess, who is still wearing that scepter around her neck, she sits on the far side of the table from you.
Okay.
And the uncle takes a seat at the what would ostensibly look like is the head of the table up here. So, but he does not speak. He allows his niece to do the talking, and his and Princess Serissa says, "Did you find the food to your liking?"
The seaweed dish was most excellent, Your Highness, he says, giving a polite bow. And he speaks in perfect giant.
Okay. And she smiles and she says, "It has been a long time since I have been among the Furbolg. Tell me, are you from one of the clans that is in the mountains or one of the clans that is in the forests?"
Out of character, is this my plane of existence? Did we go back?
Yeah, you guys have not left Toril. Okay. Wait. Yes, you have left Toril. You had left Toril when you went to, God bless it, Barovia. But now you are back in Toril. Yes.
Okay, so we're back.
Sorry.
I'm back home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he nods and says, I am from somewhat of a combination of the both. I live on the mountain, but I live within my tribe lives within the deep forests, partway up the slopes. So we get the best of both worlds.
Well, I'm not sure what your bard friend was playing at, but if he was indeed merely trying to have a joke, as some of you said, he chose a very poor time to do it. You see, my father has been missing for a little under a year. And just last month, my mother's body was found in a cluster of islands that humanoids live in, a place called the Red Rocks. So, as you can see, there is great suspicion upon the small folk as, I'm sorry, humanoids. I was raised with the term small folk, and I still sometimes use it. I mean no offense.
At this point in time, Dez just kind of laughs and goes, well, honestly, you could just call them munchkins for all I care, but, you know, it works.
And she says, you can see that you caused yourselves a lot of needless tension among my family and our guests of the other giantkin by choosing to act as you did. I had to plead with my uncle for nearly an hour to allow him to meet with any of you. And he suggested only then, one by one, and only with himself and 2 guards present. I wish we did not have to be so formal. But tell me truly, did you come here invited by my father, as you said? Or was there some other errand that brought you here? Heather?
Damn. Yep. I'm thinking. Sorry.
Okay.
Out of character. I know that I, in character, would know what basically everything's been going on, but out of character, Heather's brain is
Okay. In character,
thinking like a marble. So, you know.
In character, or no, out of character, you guys were sent by Mordenkainen. And you were told that you needed to get the conch of teleportation, go to Maelstrom, find out what's going on with King Hekaton. They have been able to sense him, but they believe that he is imprisoned or something. And King Hekaton is an ally of Mordenkainen. And
okay.
his other, and the other, legendary spellcasters. You realized from your recent travels in the Cloud Giant Castle that at least the Bronze Dragon and the Cloud Giant there are sort of fanboys of Mordenkainen. You have no idea what the rest of Giantkin would think about him, but at least you know he has some knowledge of the leader of this Soul Fest.
Okay. So Dez kind of stands there and he looks at the princess, and he is quiet for a moment and then goes, to be very honest, I joined this group. Is it in Innistrad? No.
No.
That's not it. Sorry.
Barovia.
Barovia. That okay. Barovia, which is of course not my home location. However,
she and her uncle both just give you confused looks, like.
But he can just continues
about
on.
Barovia, yeah.
Right, and he goes, but when you have someone like Mordenkainen who disguises himself and as someone that is a friend, and next thing you know is you're getting tossed away or taken to a different location to help out Mordenkainen, and he lists off the other ones. He said, and then Mordenkainen goes disappearing. However, that all being said, it wasn't until after several months in this Barovia place that I came across these individuals. They are a little on the, I wouldn't call it silly side. There are times where they do or say things that kind of make you question your own sanities. However, they are good people. They have never done wrong by me. They have accepted me into their group of adventurers, and we have been going from place to place with performances, small adventures here and there. Morning Canaan had sent us on some tasks to take care of for him, and once those were accomplished, we finally were able to come back here. And from there, I have just been kind of following along. I know these individuals have other things. Yes.
The uncle at the end of the table has just sort of been drumming his fingers, and he says, Master Furbolg, you have talked around the answer, but you have not given an answer. Did you come here at the invitation of my brother, King Hecaton, or did you not? It is a yes or no question that requires a yes or no answer.
And the Furbolg kind of looks over at him and goes, what I was trying to explain is I don't know. I know when I met them, they already had other things going on. After they've been here, I've just been following along with them, and they said they had been invited. So I'm basically here to help them out so if
okay,
I honestly can't tell you.
Out of character, Desarius would know that that's not true.
Yes.
Okay, so
he's basically saying, look, these guys, I met up with them, X number of time ago.
Then make a bluff check, because you are intentionally deceiving them by not giving. Yes, by not. Oh, yeah. Okay, deception. Yep. Sorry. Bluff check is a different edition. And the princess crosses her arms and says, Master Furbolg, you make it very difficult for us to trust you. You realize that as long as we do not trust you, you will not leave of your own volition.
Would you trust me enough to tell you that you have someone amongst your, I guess, advisors that isn't what they seem to be? That you might seem unaware of their true nature?
And Imperator Uthor leans from the end of the table, and he gives you a cold stare, and he says, what do you insinuate, Furbolg?
He kind of fidgets just slightly enough, but then pulls out his pipe and sticks it in his mouth and goes, what's her name?
I don't know that they actually mentioned her name.
But he'll say, he'll describe the person and go, the one that was sitting next to you. that looks like this. They are not what they seem to be. And I think Falazure was trying to protect you in his own way by giving you that gift so that you could no longer be deceived.
Make a persuasion check, because now you are trying to persuade them of the truth. And I'm going to say make it with...
Finally.
I'm going to say make it with disadvantage, because
No!
you have just lied. You have just lied to them. And
It's a
been
perception anyway.
Ah,
a persuasion. Yeah, persuasion. Not
damn it.
perception.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so persuasion. I think I have inspiration from some other time. Can I use that?
If you do, yeah, re-roll both of them.
Okay.
See if your disadvantage is any better.
Oh, no.
Ooh, no. Okay, so the highest disadvantage is an 8. And Serissa pulls out the wand and she says, I have studied this, and I have looked in the library books in my father's study. This does appear to be a wand of dragon detection. Do you mean to say that Lady Iymrith, who has come to our court in our hour of need after my mother was murdered, do you mean to say that she is a dragon? Is that what you are implying?
He bows deeply and goes, "Yes, Your Highness. She is a blue dragon."
And
he states it like so matter of factly that there's no stuttering, there's no it's yes, Your Highness, she is a blue dragon.
And there is a tremendous noise as the flat of 2 giant palms slap down on the end of the table, and Imperator Uthor stands to his full height and says, "My niece, will you sit here and listen to this without any proof?"
Dez puts his hand over his heart and says, "Though you may think that I am lying about this, this has been seen by one of our party when they have the ability to see these things, and saw that she is a blue dragon. When we saw that, we honestly hoped that we could give you something as a gift that would allow you to dispel that deception. We don't know why the blue dragon is here. We would hope that for some reason it would be of a good nature. However, with the tragedy that your family has suddenly found themselves with, the disappearance of your father, the murder of your mother, who is to say that this person, this dragon, is not here for their own amusement or for the and this, he kind of stumbles. He's like, I don't know why they would be here, but why would they come during your time of need? Is it to revel in your sorrow? Is it to honestly be of a help to you? Is it, we don't know. But when we found out who this person is, we did become very concerned. We came here at an invite to entertain, but once we got here, we realized that there's another problem. And yes, some of our group is rather uncouth and sometimes doesn't know the right way to address such beings as yourself. However, their intentions from the time that I have been with them have always been honorable and good. And it's the only reason that I stay with them and not return to my own home.
And Princess Serissa, she leans back in her chair and she looks at you, and then she cuts her eyes over to her uncle, and who is still standing, and he's leaning on the table, and he's looking intently at you. I want you to make another persuasion check. This time, once again, roll it with disadvantage.
Anybody's over there in Twitch want to gives me advantage if I roll really bad. Okay. You said persuasion?
Persuasion. Okay.
A little better than last time.
Commodore did give you advantage in the chat.
Oh,
okay. Commodore gave you
thank you,
advantage.
Commodore.
Right?
Pray.
Thanks, Commodore.
Persuasion. Ah! God damn
Okay.
it. So
Well,
11. It's better than last time.
Okay. So yes. The uncle guards you suspiciously, but Serissa turns the wand in her hand and she says, "Uncle, if a blue dragon were to come to this hall, how could they stand to be so close to the Wormskull throne, a throne that is made from 4 of the skulls of their kind?" And the uncle says, "Niece, I am not certain I believe him. However, to answer your question truly, I think there is only one treasure in all of Maelstrom that would draw a blue dragon here. That is the Korolnor scepter." And when he says that, the princess sort of reflexively just reaches up and puts a hand over the scepter that she's wearing around her neck.
And at this time, Dez looks at the uncle and goes, "By my honor and word as a Furbolg, I will lay my head upon this, I guess it's a table, this table for you and expose my neck to prove my truth. If I am found to be lying, you may take my life."
And Princess Serissa says, "Master Furbolg, there will be no cause for that. Uncle, I am swayed by his words. But we must determine how we can use this wand to tell the truth of this deception that may be among us." And she says, she turns back to Dez and she says, "Which of your friends is most conversant with the ways of magic?"
Thinks about it for a minute. Out of character. Is it? It's
Out of character, you got a wizard, which is Mulek.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was thinking. Sorry. He kind of stands back up and goes, "That would be Mulek," and he gives a quick description of which one is Mulek. We also have our bard, Falazure, as well.
And when you mention his name, it's kind of a growl that you more feel than hear coming from.
And he kind of holds up his
uncle.
hands and goes, the spell he was casting was simply to try to dispel magic, to hopefully show you the blue dragon that was sitting there. However, that didn't work. So
and the uncle just sort of closes his eyes, shakes his head, puts his palm over his face, and says, "Oh, well, if that blue is one of the ones that has mastered shape-shifting, that is an innate ability, not a spell. It cannot be dispelled."
We weren't sure if it was a spell. They were using something like polymorph. So he was trying in his own way. However, his choice of timing and way of going about it is definitely not the way it should have been done. But what's done is done, and we can only beg for your forgiveness.
And Princess Serissa says, "Very well, Desarius. Thank you for bringing your truth to me. Uncle, please lead Desarius back to the guest quarters, and please bring this Mulek to me. I would like to question him. Desarius,
yes.
Let your friends know before Mulek comes if there are any other means that you all have that might expose the truth of what you have said. It would be in your group's interest for Mulek to bring that with him."
Very well. I will do so.
All right. So, then Desarius gets led out here. We're going to put Desarius on this layer. Then we're going to go back over here. And
what was the last thing you said about he should bring what with him?
Okay.
Information with him.
Oh, information.
Basically
Okay.
the truth.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So
That and something that can see, anything that can help
Yeah. Okay.
see. So I guess you need my gem of seeing.
So yeah, Dez, you will be led in. The uncle will step back and will nod for the other storm giants to give you guys some privacy. They will not lock the door, but they will close the door. So Dez, you can come in and you can say whatever you want to say to the rest of the party.
So Dez walks in, and as soon as the door is kind of like closed, he like just rubs his hands down his face, covering his eyes, and he peeks out and goes, "Sorry, guys."
Oh, well, your mic is, you've done something to your mic.
Sorry, guys.
You're all right.
Sorry for what?
They didn't hurt you, did they?
No. Giants are somewhat of our kin, so to speak. Or we are kin of them, so to speak. So let's just say that he looks at Mulek and then looks at Falazure, and I pleaded your case, and I told them about the dragon and tried to make it so that they understand that we were brought here as entertainment. However, when we got here, we were concerned because of what we discovered was sitting next to her. And we did not want any more tragedy to befall the family. The mother slain, the father missing. So once I was done, they somewhat believed me and asked me who would know the most about magic and some way of exposing this individual for what they are. So I told them that Mulek or Falazure would be the best, and they asked for Mulek.
Me?
Yes.
Oh boy.
But again, they're hoping that we have something because it sounds like they think, again, I'm getting the feeling that they're starting to believe, but this blue dragon may have mastered the ability of shape-shifting, and so dispel magic just isn't going to work. And he looks at Falazure and says, I told her what you cast and told her why in hopes that you could expose this individual to protect her, to protect them from what was sitting next to her. So I've tried to put you on a much more better light that we are all concerned for their safety and their well-being.
Mulek, do you want my gem of seeing?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. What was the command word on this again?
Didn't really have one. I didn't think there was a command word.
No, you have to attune to it.
You have to attune to it.
Yeah.
And you've used one charge, right?
2 charges.
You used 2 charges. Okay, and it has 3 charges. So there's a So if somebody else attunes to it, there is 1 charge left before the next dawn. And there will be 3 charges the following dawn.
There is a command word associated with this item, but
okay, then it's up to you, Mulek. You just decide what it is when you're talking to her.
Okay.
So if I may make a suggestion from one expert wizard to another, do you not have a scroll written down, something that might help with this situation?
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, all right.
What was the command word?
I don't know, I'm just making it up. We didn't get one.
That works. Okay. We'll just make one.
Okay. All right. So after a few moments, there is a knock on the door, and then the door pushes open, and they see Mulek there. Thaldohr, you gave him the gem of seeing. Okay,
I did. I
right.
tell him, make sure I get this back.
Yeah, I'll try.
So we will copy Falazure. And we will go back over here.
Do you mean Mulek?
Sorry, yeah. Copy Mulek. Go back over here, and let me make sure I pasted the correct person. I did. Okay. All right. So, Mulek, you are brought in again to this same chamber. You are led by the uncle and a couple of storm giant guards over here. Same deal. Big shell table. Princess Serissa sitting on the opposite side. The uncle sitting at the end. And as you walk in and sit down, Princess Serissa says, welcome, Mulek. Your shield guardian is a wonderful piece of workmanship.
Thank you. I just recently acquired that.
Oh, you did not create it yourself?
No, I did not. I wish I had that much intelligence and power to create something so magnificent.
Now, I suppose your companion Dez told you what we spoke about.
He did.
Okay. Now, he told us that you, among all of your companions, are the ones most knowledgeable in the ways of magic. I'm sure you are aware that we storm giants are no strangers to magic ourselves, and there are 4 of us. There is only one of you. So, we would advise you to be less rash than your friend Falazure in any decisions that you would make. We understand, according to the Furbog, that he was only trying to assist. But as you may be aware, we have had some recent tragedies here, and there have been strong implications that small folk may have been involved. So the guards are on something of a high alert. Now, you have brought us this wand. Can you tell me how close must I be to a dragon for it to detect one?
120 feet.
Oh. And the uncle says, well, that is certainly.
When I say that, what kind of reaction do I get from the uncle and the princess?
They both look kind of impressed.
They don't look like worried or anything.
No, okay. They look impressed that it will work at that range.
Okay.
And then the uncle Uthor will say, now Mulek, among your spells, do you have any way of detecting the true form of a creature that is disguised?
I wish I did, but we recently came into possession of an item, a gem of seeing, that will allow us to see the true form of a creature in an illusionary state. And I can show you that item if you desire.
And the uncle says, yes, and please, if you are willing.
So I slowly hold up my hands, palm forward, and kind of hold them out, and I take my left hand and I pinch my cloak carefully, and I pull it away from me to show that I've got some pockets in there, and while I'm looking at them and going very slowly, I take my right arm and I reach in and I slowly pull out the gem of seeing, and I show them.
Okay. And the uncle looks at it and says, oh, that is a marvelous item indeed. Yes, I have seen its like. Tell me, does it have any charges left today?
There is only one charge left. And the reason why is because it was used earlier. We were made aware that something had happened to your beloved king. And we came here to investigate. And it was by use of one of these charges when we discovered that one of your court was in fact not who they appeared to be.
And make a persuasion check. And this is not at disadvantage. You have not tried to.
Doesn't have
this
to be.
Is just.
I disadvantage myself. Oh,
Natty. Look
A
at
nat
that.
20, but my -2 brings it to an 18.
Nat 20.
Okay.
Very good.
A nat 20 is a success. So, the uncle sits back and he says, "Now we get closer to the truth. Your Furbog friend insisted on continuing the ridiculous stories you were sent here as entertainers. There was something not convincing about that. Tell me, how did you come to learn of distress, or how of the state of my brother, that he was missing?"
Have you ever heard of the wizard Mordenkainen?
Oh, yes. My brother, I believe, goes on about him a lot. I believe they had some sort of, or have some sort of a friendship.
It was from him that we learned of the dire strait of your king, and it was from his presence that we received some of these items to help you.
I see. And Serirssa says, "Mordenkainen, you know Mordenkainen. Is it true that he is as handsome as the day is long, and that his temperament is as sweet as honey?"
Yes, and his head is as big as the biggest boulder.
And with that,
nobody flipped out about it.
with that, when you say his head is as large as a boulder, you hear the uncle start guffawing. Well, one with his reputation, I would imagine his head is so big he may not even fit in Maelstrom.
That's probably why he sent us.
Niece, I have an idea. If you allow Niece, I would suggest that I hang on to this gem of seeing long enough to attune to it, and then in a few hours, we call all of the guards and all of our guests, the giant guests and the small folk guests alike, back to the throne room. You can use your wand. I will use the gem. If we both detect the truth of what they are saying, we can perhaps end this threat and find out what has befallen your father. And then the uncle will look at Mulek and say, "Are you and your friends in condition to fight? And would you be willing to fight against the Blue Dragon, if it comes to that?"
We would be in better condition if we were to have our weapons back. But I see no reason why we could not assist you in this matter of removing this blue dragon from your realm.
And the uncle nods and says, "Your weapons will remain. Your weapons will be in easy reach. I will make sure of that. It would arouse too much suspicion among the giant kin who are our guests if we returned your weapons to you. But if we simply have them within easy reach, as soon as we declare that Lady Iymrith is indeed a blue dragon and not what she seems, then all of the attention of the giants will be on her, and you can easily grab your weapons and join the fray.
I'm sure it goes without saying. Just be careful when you use those items so that this blue dragon doesn't notice what you are doing. The Gem of Seeing, to activate that, you must say in common, show. And it will reveal to you any true form for a period of 10 minutes. And I look at the princess. For that wand, you must use the word in common, puff. And for a period of 1 hour, it will reveal any dragon within 120 feet of you.
And Serissa says, if I use the wand and then a dragon comes within range, will it detect, or must the dragon be in range when I use the wand?
It will, for a period of 1 hour, if any dragon comes within 120 feet of you, it will reveal its presence. And the closer you are to it, the more it will reveal to you where that dragon is located.
And then she looks at her uncle, and the uncle looks at her, and they both look at you, and they say, very well, we will be informed when Lady Iymrith approaches. We can activate the gems before she is in the room, and then we will know the truth. We will wait until the guards are in place before we spring our ambush on her. If what you say is true, I would have you know, Serissa says, and her voice becomes very stern at this point. I will have you know that if we find that Lady Iymrith is not a dragon, as you have claimed, I'm afraid that it will go very badly for you and your friends. Will you stick by your story?
I stick by my friend Thaldohr, who was the one who let us know, or let it be known, that that individual was not who they appeared to be, and that they were in fact a blue dragon. You have plenty of charges on that wand. I would suggest activating it as soon as you feel like you're within 120 feet of this impersonator, to give you some type of confirmation before it's too late. We are putting a lot of faith in you two to help us return to our homeland. I would hope that you have someone keep an eye on this other individual, and that you two remain safe before we are able to enact our plan.
And they say yes, and then they tell you that they tell you how this is going to go down. They tell you that you are going to be brought in, and you will be stood around the rim of this pool that's in the throne room, on the far side of that pool from the thrones. The princess and Iymrith and Uthor will be in the thrones. A honor guard of storm giant guards will be around the perimeter of the room. The giant guests of honor will be in the amphitheater. The hill giants will be back at the doors, and they will give the command in giant when they are satisfied that indeed the magic items have revealed the presence of a dragon in their midst. So your weapons will be laid nearby you and behind you. So just be ready when that time comes.
Let me ask one more question. Is there any one of your group that may be in league with this dragon?
And Uthor shakes his head. No, says, it is true that Lady Iymrith has used my and the princess's sister's natural suspicion of small folk to try to convince us that we should be on the lookout for small folk assassins that may come to try to do harm to us. You, of course, would have no way of knowing this, but that is one reason why there was such anxiety upon seeing you in the first place, is that we had already been led to believe that perhaps foul play by humanoids was behind the death of my sister-in-law. And we will... that will all quickly be forgotten if we find a dragon in our midst, because while some of the giantkin have no love for small folk like yourselves, the thing they hate worst of all is dragons. Because dragons live for only one thing: destruction and plunder and greed and tyranny. And we will not abide that. Not in our midst.
Okay. So a few hours then.
Yes.
Okay.
And so at the end of that discussion, you are led out of the room and you are led back to the chamber over here. So we'll go ahead and we'll move the ribbon back up here. And we have a few minutes left. So in the time that is remaining, why don't you sort of fill your party in on what you have learned, and maybe you guys can figure out how you want to play this when this all goes down. The giants will close the door. Actually, you guys are followed by another cart, and this cart has more pitchers of drink, which now there are 2 pitchers of wine, or no, there's a pitcher of ale and a pitcher of wine in addition to the water and the fruit drink. And then there's also a heaping plate that's filled with some sort of delicious pastries. And that cart is left and the other cart is taken away. So you all have a few minutes to talk about this.
Well, I spoke to the princess and the uncle, and they believe why we have come here. The uncle now is in possession of the Gem of Seeing. The princess has the Wand of Dragon Detection. They appear to believe our story that Iymrith, the individual who is sitting to the right of the princess when we walked in, is indeed a blue dragon. In a few hours, we will be called to the same room we were in previously. There will be giants surrounding the room. Those 3 will be upon their thrones. And we'll use the Gem of Seeing and the Wand of Dragon Detection to reveal the true nature of Iymrith. And thus will begin what I'm sure will be a battle to destroy or take control of that creature. So we have a few hours to prepare ourselves for battle. They told me that they would have our weapons within easy reach, and that as soon as the creature's revealed, we should be able to obtain them no problem.
Well, ladies and gents, like a fight's on our hands.
Sounds like it's going to be fun. My only question is, what if the uncle's in on it, trying to take the throne for himself?
Well, when I revealed the information that I had, it didn't appear to me that the uncle was showing any type of deception. I did reveal that we came at the behest of Mordenkainen, who they are familiar with, and appear to have nothing but good things to say about him. So I believe that I have gained favor. But yes, if that uncle turns on us, well, we'd have to deal with that. It's a big risk we're taking.
We'll have to have a backup plan to run the hell away, right?
I mean, we don't have the conch anymore. We can breathe underwater, but again, I'm not sure how far we could swim, and I'm sure we're not as very proficient at it as some of these other folk are.
Nah, I bet their breaststroke and their doggy paddle are massive compared to ours.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Okay. Well, it's do or die then. We'll find out, won't we? There's a bit of fun walking into an unknown situation.
Seems like it'll be a good fight.
That's why
And we'll have giants helping us.
I asked if they had any suspicion of others, and their response was that Iymrith strategy was to convince all in the court to beware of the small folk, and that the small folk were the ones who had caused the problems, and that small folk assassins may be coming, thus their suspicion of us when we arrived. So
makes sense. They're guarding their princess next in line.
Yeah. So I don't know. In a few hours we'll see, but I recommend everyone keep eyes in the back of their head, because we don't know if this Iymrith has others under its power or command or on its side.
Okay. All right. Let us see here. You guys have enough time, as it turns out, to take a full short rest. So if any of you are down anything, or down any hit points or anything, need to spend any hit dice, or have any abilities that would recharge on a short rest that you have used, you would be free to do that. Let's see here. I'm trying to do two things at once. The rest of so does anybody have anything they need to do in that regard?
No.
Mulek doesn't.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So then how we will close this evening is we will close by setting the following scene for you. We will briefly return back to the throne room, and when you get in here, we will see that everything has been arrayed thusly. Tug and Cog are back up here near the doors. The 4 giant lords and the 2 sisters are up here on the these steps and sitting like in arena style seating. There is an honor guard of 8 storm giants arrayed around, and Iymrith is sitting in her accustomed place. Serissa is sitting in her accustomed place, and Imperator Uthor is sitting in his accustomed place. As you all walk in and are led here to stand around this well, you do notice that this giant here and this giant here both have both are carrying loose bundles that appear to include most of your weapons. And as they sort of get into position, they just sort of set those down on the floor in front of them. And everybody can make a perception check if you wish. Or an insight check to sort of read the room.
Either
yeah, no, I would say insight. Insight
okay.
is, yeah. Oh, wow. Some good rolls from most people. Okay. All right.
You tagged it there. Thank you.
Dez.
An attempt was made.
Dez and Mulek and Krenraid and Thaldohr. The 4 of you realize that Uthor and Serirssa must have used the magic items because while they are schooling their features fairly well, there is a bit of anxiety as they are looking over at Iymrith. So you all are pretty sure.
Can I tell if Iymrith has picked up on this?
With your 24, you can tell that Iymrith is she actually is smiling and looking at all of you with a predatory smile. She sees all of the guards around, and she seems to think that she knows why all these guards are here. And she seems to be pretty pleased with herself.
Okay.
And Serissa will speak, and she will say, "Giant lords and ladies, it has come to you all well know that Maelstrom has suffered greatly in these past months. Mine father has gone missing. My mother has been murdered. It was a comfort to us recently when the Lady Iymrith came to us and brought warning that there may be small folk assassins that were involved in the disappearance of my father and the murder of my mother. And you all know that just a few hours ago, here in this very hall, these small folk did not acquit themselves very well. I have counseled with mine uncle and with my closest advisors, and I have come to a decision. I realize that within our midst there is one who has betrayed the throne of Maelstrom. And that one, I declare, shall not leave this hall alive. And then she flings out a finger towards her left and she says, "Seize Lady Iymrith. She is a blue dragon in disguise."
I grab my Staff of Frost out of my bag.
And that is where we are going to leave the session. So next time we come to play, we will pick up with an accusation, and we will find out what the reaction from the giants is. We will find out what the reaction from the party is. We will probably have initiatives, and we will see who gets to do what in what order. Hey, William. Thanks for stopping by. And viewers, thank all of you for coming by this evening. We hope you have enjoyed our session, and we appreciate those of you who helped out our players with some really bad die rolls. Gosh, the dice just did not want to cooperate with you guys tonight. Yeah, it's like
I'm suspense. So good.
I am glad that we didn't get into any combats, because it's like with the way you guys were rolling, that could have been very ugly. So hopefully the dice will warm up and be kinder to you next week when we see what will happen. And speaking of next week, I believe we are back next week for another session. I don't think that there's any games coming up next week. We are getting kind of into the heart of both of the soccer seasons, and so there's midweek games happening for both of the clubs coming up, and all kinds of weekend matches. But this weekend, the home game is on Friday, so that will not affect the Saturday night game. We will be back here at 8 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. on Saturday night for our second edition game. We will be back at 2 p.m. on Sunday for our 5th edition game. And then I think on Sunday we actually are not playing on Labor Day weekend, because there's a Sunday match that weekend. Then Monday night there will be a Monster Monday, but I haven't decided what we're going to cover. We just finished up our 2-part series on Slotty. We will be looking for another interesting monster. And for the viewers, coming next month is in fact September for Twitch. So if you guys are Twitch Prime members and you have the ability to, you haven't decided where you would like to put your free subscription that you get with Twitch Prime, we would love it if you guys could throw a subscription our way. We are also going to be launching for all of our viewers of all the games a new Discord server next month. And the Discord server will allow you guys to start forming a community where you can chat with each other, whether you generally come by for the Thursday game or the Saturday game or the Sunday game or all three. and where you can interact between games between sessions with the players. And I will be popping in there from time to time, so it'll be a good place that you can ask questions. It'll also have some ways that you can offer suggestions or requests for things to cover on Monster Monday and Lore Friday. And we will be publishing that Discord server in September. Right now, the players are acting as guinea pigs for me, and they are helping me iron out a few kinks and making sure that everything works the way I want it to before we start opening it up for other people. But pretty soon, we will begin placing the link in the chat and on the Twitch channel and on the YouTube channel as well. So, wonderful, Commodore. Great. And we look forward to you being able to ask those questions in the Discord. Before we go, Paul and Michael, I'd like to let you guys tell us what is coming up in your streaming lives between now and next Thursday. Paul, anything coming up for you?
Both my games on hiatus because people have finally got some holidays, and I personally am now finished with my contract for work. So, like them, I'm going to be enjoying some time off. So I'm completely free.
Oh, okay. So you will not be on any other streams between now and next week. Michael, over on the Doors of Fear channel, what do you have coming up between now and next Thursday?
So tomorrow, I have one of my subscribers that's been following me for over a year. Bless him. So I'm going to play some games tomorrow evening. So Friday evening. And I did pick up the copy of the new Myst game they released today.
Ooh.
The one that's completely done in the Unity engine with all the detail and random puzzles. So now, even if you played Myst 100 times, the puzzles are all randomized now. You have that option.
Nice. Okay.
And it also works in VR, but I'm going to play it just 2D. But you can hook a VR headset up to it and play it.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Yeah, Myst is one of those games I loved and hated.
I have the whole collection. I've got all the Myst games. I even have the Myst linking book.
Ooh.
I joined the Kickstarter when they announced the Kickstarter for it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so that sounds like a lot of fun. So if you guys are around tomorrow night, please go over to twitch.tv/Doors of Fear and check out Doors of Fear as he plays through that new Myst game. I will have to look and see if you're still online when the soccer game is over. If you're still streaming, I might pop in and watch a little bit of that myself.
No problem.
When I get home from the stadium. All right. Well, everybody, hope you all have a wonderful week. We hope we will see some of you on Saturday night and or Sunday afternoon and or Monday evening for Monster Monday. Until then, everyone, take care.